Kia ora and welcome. My name's Owen Jessup and I'm from Power Farming. I'm here today to talk to you about the fabulous 6155G, and we're going to be doing a little bit of how to get going and how to use the machine moving forward. So hop on in and let's have a go. So now we're going to just have a look at a few features of how to get the machine up and moving. And then we're going to be looking at the PDO, we'll be also looking at our selective control valves and the PDO. So let's have a look through everything, and also we've got the hitch to work as well. So let's get into it and let's have a good look at it. So first of all, how do we get out and how do we start the machine? We've pretty much got our key down here, so it's just a matter of turning your key on. It'll light up the display. We've got a handbrake on, so as long as the handbrake's on. We've got this in neutral, so we've got forward, reverse, and there. As long as that's in neutral, we can then turn the key and we can start up. So that gives us a starting. So no need for a clutch. As long as our handbrake's on, we're in neutral, we're good to go. So we can tilt our steering wheel back and forth just to give it nice comfort. We can telescope the steering wheel in and out. So this is just setting yourself up a bit more comfort. We also got the air seat, so we can go up and down with our seat. That's nice and easy to use. But let's move into seeing how we can move this tractor. So on this side here, we've got our range lever. Our range lever, we have 5 gears in the range lever. On our buttons on the side here is giving us our power shift buttons. So these are going to give us from A, B, C, D, E and F. So giving us 6 forward gears and 3 reverse. So when we're in the forward direction, we've got 6 power shift gears. So they can be done on the go with no clutch. To select which gear we're going to be in, we need to depress the clutch. We need to select the lever. So we're into a second, release the foot off the clutch, and you can select forward or reverse, and then you'll be away in your direction. And then obviously once you move in, we can use our gear lever there. On the front, we have a little button around the front. This is our declutch button. So this allows us to simulate what you would normally do with your foot on the clutch. So you can press that, hold, and then put it into a gear, and then you're good to go, let it go, and then it'll move forward. We have a little dial on here, it's the sensitivity of the forward reverse. This will display up in your dash, and you can adjust that 5 different settings. Moving over onto our selective control valves. So we have, these are color coded in blue, and then you'll see on each one down here they've got a different color, and that'll be represented out at the back. Functions there to move the levers. This one here goes that way, and it goes that way. So that can show you that we've got there, and then we've got another one here that's going back and forth. There is a little trick if you're running a motor, so you're running a hydraulic motor, so we just need to lift these levers up and turn it that way, and then we can pull that down and it's going to lock in. So once it's locked in, now you're going to drive a hydraulic motor. So that function's available on this lever and that lever. This one you can't lock the hydraulics. You can, however, lock them to stop them from moving by shifting that up and turning it. And it's the same with these levers as well. You can lock them in the neutral position if you so wish to do so. So we've got PDO around here. So we've got 4 speeds. So we've got economy mode, normal mode, and each one of those we have 540 and 1000. So allowing you to select those levers. There again, just pulling the button up and then selecting what you want, and then that's in your speed, and vice versa on the other side you can go into your speed. So let's just select the normal 1000 speed, and then when we go to activate the PDO, so now we want to operate the PDO, so we have 2 yellow buttons down here. So these 2 buttons, we push those 2 together, and you'll see on the dash the PDO being engaged and then coming up with a PDO RPM. So that allows us to see exactly what our PDO speed is. As we bring the revs up, that PDO RPM is coming up as well. So that just gives you there. To turn it off, just press the little yellow one there and it's all turned off. Nice and simple. Hitch. So at the moment you can see that we have a red light going on with our hitch. This is telling us that the hitch is deactivated, so we need to turn our hitch on. We've got a little stop button here, so we press and hold that. We've got a light flashing, we've got an audible noise to say it's now unlocked. We can now go and operate our hitch. So if we want to raise or lower, we've got a switch. So we can press and hold, and then that's going to come up. And if it's already up, we can press once, press twice, and then it's going to go down. So now we've got our hitch going down. So that's a nice, quick, easy way to do it. We also got a lever around the back that can raise and lower your hitch. Once you've unlocked it, you can do it here. So that's good for putting on implements. Nice and incremental movement. You can also do it through your dial. So we can raise or we can lower. So when it's active, we can do a raise or lower through there. On these 4 buttons, we've got this one here is going to give us our height, how high we want the hitch to go. This one here is going to tell us how fast we want it to go down. This one here is going to do a wheel slip, so depending on how much wheel slip you want before the hitch will raise. And then this one here we've got draft. So in draft, it's normally turned off unless you're doing a draft work, which is normally like ploughing or something like that. So there's a quick intro into operating the tractor. We've got pretty much those functions covered. Last thing to cover off is our loader joystick. So on this, here's our ergo drive loader joystick. Just a little thumb operate, so we can pull back. It's going to raise the loader, pushing it forward. It's going to go lower it down, and then obviously left to right is our crowd. And then we have a button around the front that we can push and hold, and then you can crowd, which will do your third service function as well. There's settings through here how to do your suspension. Currently it's sitting on suspension on, so but yeah, all it's done through there. It's pretty much suspension on off. Cool. And another good feature about this ergo drive system is, look at this, we can just move that out of the road. Like if we find it's obstructing anything, it's very flexible, so you can position it how it's suitable to you. So very ergonomic and ergo friendly.
So when you're using the GPS, the first thing to do is obviously make sure you've got the right implement selected. So just come into your spanner at the bottom, go to implement, and then go to select, and you'll have a list here. So at the moment we've just got sprayer set up, but we'll set up obviously additional implements. So you select the one you want, press the tick, and then just check that geometry is right. So it's got your width of your implement there, and then how far behind the hitch point it is. So that's all good for our sprayer. You press the close to go back to your menu. Now when you want to start a job or using the GPS, basically your first thing you do is click on your field menu here, and then select new. So if you're going into a new field, if you've already created the field, you can select it from the list up the top, but because we're creating a new one, we go to the plus. So our client name here, so we select our client name, which we've got in there. Farm name, we would name it, whatever the farm was called, or if it was already in there, obviously you can select that. And if you're creating a new field, you come in here and you just name the field. So if you're in field 3, select 3, and then press OK. Again, if you'd already created it, you could just go in and select it, but because we're going into a new field for the first time, we need to create it. Next job is if we want to name the task specifically, we can go into here, but otherwise it'll name it for us when we start it anyway, so it's probably the easiest way to do it. And then all we do to start our task is press this button on the top right here, and that's gonna be good to go. So when we start to drive, the first thing we want to do is drive our headlands. We've just got a little paddock here that we're going to use. So if we drive over to our starting point here, and then when we are ready to go, all we do is we've got our master switch down the bottom here, so we turn that on by pressing that, and that wants to turn green. If that's red and you click it, it's going to come up with a checklist as to why it's not turning on, so you just need to make sure those parameters are correct. But if that's going green and you've got your paint appearing behind you there, then you're good to go. So we'll just whip around our quick lap here. So if we need to back into a corner or anything, we just want to make sure that we turn our coverage off, and we can square that up. We can back it in, and it's key to make sure that our sprayer here is overlapping the coverage we've already done. So then we get to here, we want to turn it back on, we turn our coverage on again. As long as that's overlapped there, we shouldn't have any issues when it comes to setting our boundary. We carry on driving our field here. So as we come into our starting point here, we want to make sure that we overlap that starting point again, so we've come back over where we started. So when we've overlapped there, we can come to a stop. Now that's our first run around our field done. So what we want to do now is create a boundary. So we've got a fence drawn around the outside. Again, if you've already set up the paddock beforehand and you're coming into a paddock you've already done, this is already going to be done, so then you can just drive the outside. But what we're going to do here, come into our field menu, scroll right down, and this one at the bottom with the pencil, we want to click on that. Now this is just going to give us a few options in terms of how we set it up, but it should be pretty right. So what we want to do is click OK. And it's going to draw a blue line here you can see around the outside of our boundary. So we've got this blue line on the right hand side of our tractor here, and that's going to be our fence line. So that corner there that we added back into, it's tidied that up there, so that's all good. Make sure you're happy with that. If you are, you can press the tick. It's going to save that boundary. We can refocus on our tractor with the target at the top there. And that's our first lap done, and we've got our fence there. Now what that allows us to do is we can scroll down on this side here, select our job information, and it's going to tell us how much area we've got remaining. It's going to tell us how long it estimates we're going to take to finish it. Any other information that's applicable to the job is all there as well. Once we're happy with that, we've got two options. So if you want to do a second headland, you'll see it's got a red line appeared in here. If that line's not there, it can be toggled with this switch up the top here. So we click on that one there, and it's going to turn that on, and then we can follow that line around for our next lap, and that's just going to basically put us one width inside our first lap. And then as we're doing that, so we'll do that now. It's a bit of a small paddock here, but make sure you turn your sprayer off when you overlap as well. And then when we come back on, so we turn our sprayer back on, and we just want to follow that red line. Now as we're doing it, we can set up a new job. So we can go, new line, sorry. So we can drop our ape in there. You've got to drive at least 10 metres. And we drop our beep in. And that's going to give us our line. So now we've got all our straight lines here. And then basically we're just going to turn around and find our next line. Come back down here, turn our sprayer back on, and we're just going to follow that line back down the paddock. It's a little easier in a bigger paddock, but this should give you an idea anyway. So we get to the end, we can turn our sprayer off, turn around, and we just do that across the field. Once you've finished your job, so you've painted the whole field, basically you come to a stop. We select our task button up the top to finish our task. So we press that. It's going to give us the option to pause it or complete the task. So we want to complete it. And then that will clear all the job data and that'll be saved. If you need to recall that task, you can come in into your second tab here and select that to bring it back up. It's going to reload it all.
Alrighty, so I hope you enjoyed us giving you a little bit of an insight about how to operate the machine. It's not that complicated, it's nice and simple. It's get in and have a go, and don't be afraid to give it a good whirl.